Hi guys, welcome back. I hope you guys all had now that we're here, it's unfortunate that Milosh can't join us for now, but I think it's safe to say we're reunited, and we can really start tackling a little bit of whatever you guys choose to get up to in this new year. So very excited to see how you burn the city down. I mean, possibly. In any case,
Definitely.
so I'm gonna start with a quick recap for us. Then I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a poem that I think might be interesting, just to capture the atmosphere and the mood of the general story that's going on. We've had some levity, we've had some good times, but of course there's some serious things at play here for a lot of you. And after that, we'll dive right in with where we left off last time. So, um, last week, and really leading up to this, right? The party arrived in Postizia after, um, let's say, some introductory adventures in Watchhold that proved to be only the very beginning of things, as you've discovered now that you are here. Um, you navigated the city. You've taken up a contract with Lord Fennik Storm to protect him from whatever conspiracy is trying to undermine or possibly harm him. And in the business of that, you've also been pursuing some other things. Tani took the party to reconnect with her old friend Finn, and you've been clothes shopping, and you've been through a number of other things, and you still have quite a few things also on your list that you could possibly still go after from here on. One of those is going to a brothel called the Siren's Repose, but we'll get to that in a moment. When we got together last time, you guys were in a room in a hotel where there was a great big painting on the wall. In that painting, you saw a fiery red comet that almost seemed to burn with actual fire. Next to it was a statue of what someone, I believe it was Kor, identified as a devil called a Rakshasa. Beyond that, the room was empty. Now, in that chamber, one of you, Tani, had a strange moment where you seemed to lose control of yourself. And for just the briefest of seconds, you felt yourself kneel down and you were about to recite words that, even though you didn't recognize them, they felt familiar. They felt right. But you all together managed to stop that from happening. In the aftermath, Jean-Jacques was inspecting the room when he was flashed, to say it bluntly, by a glyph of warding. He was instructed to remain in the building, but everything quickly turned in a different direction when the person who had cast the spell realized who you were. She followed you, and you were reunited, at least for three of you, with the tiefling named Cadence, a once motherly figure who had been escorting a young man called Orion away from Ashheart, the place from which this group derives its name. It turns out that Cadence works with the Unusual Services Division, a part of a special commission, secret, in Postizia, that basically protects against anything supernatural or otherwise seditious or dangerous to the Republic. In that spirit, she's been investigating the cult of the dragon, the same ones that had lured you here, it seemed. You exchanged some information, did not inform her about any connection that you had directly to the events that transpired, but instead convinced her that you had a contact, unnamed and secret, who had given you the information that led you here. After catching up with Cadence and receiving an invitation from her to meet with her in room 19 of that same hotel if you should choose to further investigate, you decided to return to the estate of Lord Fennik. You dined and rested without Lord Fennik or the lady present. They seemed to be off busy on other business. But you took the time to recuperate, recover, and talk a little more about what Ternock had informed you of. The fact that when he was investigating his own quest, the retrieval of this mysterious crown, this ancient crown of the kingdom of Ostraland, he had noticed that someone else had been spying on the same meeting. That person retreated to the Siren's Repose, a brothel in the docks. Unfortunately, the brothel is quite heavily guarded, and at the time, Ternock decided it would probably be best not to investigate further alone, but instead return to you and has been with you since. That person is still there, and so the party made up their minds to go to the Siren's Repose, discover who this person is and what their interest is in the case, and at the same time possibly be introduced to some matters of the world that at least some of you are not yet familiar with. Alright, so we won't have set out quite yet, but as you guys are sitting at the table, you finished dining. That helpful guard, that helpful guard of the house, has identified himself as Clive, and he's been helping you clean up. He's talking. He's quite friendly. Now that you guys have been quite accepting towards him, and it is just about starting to get dark outside. He also tells you that it feels like there's probably some very cold weather coming. Probably rain, possibly hail, maybe even snow. But the night looks to be quite a rough one. So as you sit there, or perhaps you're busy getting ready, talking about this and that, about what's coming in the coming days, visiting Jean-Jacques' cousin, meeting with other people, investigating deaths and murders, possibly picking up more contracts, such as the one with Elena Sordenbrand, a sort of quiet descends over the house. And so, as you consider all the paths that are open to you, I will read you this poem, which is vague, but I will also make it available to you as a handout, so you can read it again if you like. It possibly may give you a clue or two about what's to come. So, all is black shadow, but the lucid line, marked by the light surf on the level sand, or where afar the ship lights faintly shine, like wandering fairy fires that oft on land misled the pilgrim, such the dubious ray that wavering reason lends in life's long darkling way. And as we return to the party, you guys gather up in the hallway, each of you filled with your own thoughts and ideas, some of you perhaps more troubled than others, having the day or behind you that you've had. I will now make the handout available if you'd like to reread it. There we go. And you can choose to set out. Or is there anything else that you would like to discuss before you leave Lord Fennik's estate?
Yeah, but just a brief comment.
Mm-hmm.
There's no text on the image.
You have to scroll down.
Scroll down. Yeah.
Ah, I thought it was going to be like.
No, all good, all good.
Yeah. Thought the same.
They get a picture and then they scroll down.
I just noticed that I have spellcasting from Xanathar's in my handouts. Did you send that to me intentionally?
No,
or?
I put that for everyone, just in case you want to... because I think it's interesting, especially the part about how you can perceive what spells are at work, identifying spells, and things about invalid spell targets, which those rules I intend to be using from now on. I may forget, but I intend to be using them from now on, just because I think that they are... a more interesting way of handling spellcasting in general than just knowing everything right away. So, gathered at the door with at least your personal belongings, your armor on, your stuff ready, your coin purses filled with as much coin as you would like. Do you set out for the brothel, or is there anything else that anybody would like to bring up before you do?
A question to the DM, just because last week I wasn't here. Yes. I read through what you sent me, and did that happen? Did I take a nap?
Yeah, dream? That was in the past couple of hours. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, party.
I don't think Jean-Jacques will be joining us, right? And I'm saying that as I'm going to the door, and I'm going to, I'm getting my things ready to set out.
It's just as a timeline reminder, Kevin. Tonight we don't have anything, but the day after is the party at Jean Pierre's, right?
Well, your invitation is indeed for tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have nothing else.
So
to
I'll
do.
just say, if you believe that my presence would be necessary, I can go with you. The only problem is I really don't see when else I can meet with my friend, and I do believe that I can potentially get some useful information out of him, even before tomorrow's event. So I'm wary of postponing, but if everybody would like me to be there, trust me, it hurts nobody more than myself to avoid a night in the House of Pleasure. But
I will say you could potentially tag along for a bit and then leave early and still make it to your 9 p.m.
Yeah, or vice versa, I guess. Like I could always join them there.
That's also possible, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, the sun's about going down. And you've just eaten, so in March that's probably more to like 6:37ish. So you still have some time before.
Yeah. And I need to go to Ostray Park.
Yes.
And
you
the brothel is in?
The brothel is in Hyde Harbor.
Hyde Harbor. So it's not too terribly far.
You could even catch a boat upriver. There are smaller...
Like a
transport
barge
boats.
or something,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'll tag along for the first hour or two, and then I'll make my way to Ostray Park.
Yeah. And it'll be good to have you there for, the first couple of hours, because we need to, look like only customers, right? And I don't see any way that we would look like customers without you or Barnack. So,
Are you implying that?
The two depraved ones.
Are you implying
Yes,
that I was some
am.
form of harlot, my friend?
No, what I'm implying is just that
I mean, that would have been correct. I'm just
you are
asking.
more knowledgeable
Oh,
about
that-
these things than the rest of us. So.
That I am. I have to say, Barnack is the master. I am merely an apprentice.
Yeah.
That is
Okay.
Barnack takes offense in some very grandiose fashion. I know that he would.
Yeah. The difference being I'm able to procure company without paying for it. Barnack, well, he's a man of means.
Yeah, just remember we're there for business, okay? So don't procure anything. You can look interested though, if you want to.
Sure. I mean, to be fair, being there without looking interested would be quite irregular. So I would advise, even to yourselves, if you do not partake, perhaps peruse.
Have you been there before?
I don't know. Have I, Kevin? I guess I don't.
Probably once or twice.
Yeah.
But these seaside brothels, they double as like lunchrooms almost. So they have like the front parlor is very open. Like people just sit there and eat at the same time. Where the next table over,
Yeah.
there's like a dance going on.
Yeah. I think I might have been, but I haven't been in Postizia for a while, and to be honest, nights in the harbor for me are usually vague.
Okay. I see. Okay. Well, perhaps somebody will recognize you, and I don't know, Jean-Jacques. I don't know. You're a man of many mysteries and a man of many friends. So I don't know. And
That's
I'm
one way to put it.
There is another side to that coin, my friend, and don't make friends everywhere I go. But let's hope that if we meet anybody, it's one of those, not the other
Yeah.
one.
All right.
Yeah, we hope so.
You guys set out. It's still a good, 30 minutes or so to get there. Probably taking another river barge actually down to actually get to Hyde Harbor more quickly from the northern Castile district. As you do so, you do feel that the air is also quickly and rapidly chilling. Your clothes are fine for now, but you suspect if this weather is going to continue like this, you may also need to purchase some warmer clothing for the coming week or two. Because, Postizia and the general region is prone to being hit by these cold fronts where they just kind of sit over the mid-sea, and for a good 2-3 weeks it's just snow and ice, and it actually goes as far as that they need to break open the bay with magic just to keep the ships coming in and out. But, you make it there. You guys, chat, talk. Barnack tries to get in a few hits back at Jean-Jacques for what he said earlier, and then
With his slight.
exactly, and then pretty soon you find yourselves walking down the seaside docks, the ocean crashing against civilization, essentially, and pretty soon you stand before the place that you had identified, Ternock, the Siren's Repose. It's quite a lavish establishment, like in terms of the building is quite large, and they have like a nice stone entry hall almost, and you get the impression that this was probably repurposed from some other kind of building, some other type of building. But as you enter, you notice again the same, or at least you notice one guard sitting at a desk in front, but also with like a quite a heavy sledgehammer standing against the desk nearby. But they're currently just mulling over some papers, drinking some presumably wine or alcohol of some kind. And when you enter, they look up, you see that it's a quite a tattooed half-orc type. You notice that like it's a woman, but they're completely bald, and you notice that there's like a tattoo that goes over the front, almost to the eyebrows, and it looks like a bear's head. It makes her look like she has a bear's head tattoo, all over her. And she looks up as you approach, and waits for someone to step up to the desk. You get the impression that they probably take registration here of who enters and exits. Just to make sure, they know who they're dealing with. So.
Okay. I approach the half-orc woman and I tell her, "Hey there, how much for your services?" And I wink.
Oh my god. Sorry. Okay. Core, I have to say, fucking strong start to 2021. If you don't have inspiration, please take inspiration on your character sheet. Oh my god.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
Talk about going and swinging. Alright. She just kind of folds her arms and leans back, and you see like she's got like bulging muscles. She just looks up at you. Nothing you can afford. You looking to enter? Then sign your name. And she turns the ledger in front of her towards you with like a very simple pencil next to it.
Okay, I'll sign rock at the ledger, and I'll say
Hard.
Okay, so
And I'll just
you
say,
sign as
Carlos,
rock?
welcome.
Yeah,
Welcome back,
rock.
man. Welcome back.
Isn't it core? But
Yeah. but
I elbow Barnack and I whisper, "Let's use our sibling names."
Okay, I'll sign in before I turn to Leo. I'll say like, so there's a chance, right?
Okay, so Rock signs in. She looks at it for a moment and just perks an eyebrow. Just kind of looks at you for a moment. Inscrutable, but you have her attention for the moment. Barnack probably remembers those sibling names. I don't. What was it again? What did you guys call yourselves when you were performing, Tani?
Oh, right. What was it? I don't remember.
Or Orion and Oriana Beardiful.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, brother and sister adopted going to the brothel together. Okay.
Having already, using already a fake name, I'll just sign Jean-Jacques Dupois.
Okay.
Kev, yeah, I go last, and I would really like to just whisper to you what I signed.
Okay.
As before that happens, I'll just, if I may, as I'm signing, I'll scan the page just to see if there are any other names or any names that stand out or anything like
Okay.
that.
Make an investigation check, but at disadvantage because you have to do it so quickly
Yeah.
while you're at it.
Aw, man. 9 with the natural
9.
one. No, 7 with the natural one.
Yeah, so you quickly scan just a myriad of different names. Nothing stands out to you except one that just kind of jumps into your eye. One person signed as Blood Drinker. Just Blood Drinker. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. Not sure what that's about. It's not a name you've heard before.
Yeah.
All right, let me
Well,
check this
there's
whisper.
Rock on the list, right?
Sorry?
No, I was just
Okay.
wondering. There's Rock right in the list. Why wouldn't?
Oh yeah. Okay. So yes, you'll sign that name. Okay. So yeah, Ternock goes last, kind of lingering behind a little bit, while Jean-Jacques leans over. You make a spectacle of writing your name, so you have a little more time to look, but it still doesn't really help. And then you're all signed in, and you guys can enter the Siren's Repose. And let me quickly move you guys so you have a bit of a better idea of the layout of this place. All right.
Shit.
So, you guys enter through one of the two doors to the left or right side. And as you look around, you see quite a busy place. It's not the largest, but it seems that all the performers and everyone is really being entertained. So to your right side, you see sitting first of all in the corner this really savage looking creature, and at first you think dragonborn, but then you realize that's not a dragonborn. That is a similar but different type of creature. That's a lizard folk. He's got these little red beady eyes, and sometimes when he's currently just drinking, but sometimes when he puts the drink away, you just see this serpentine tongue flitting out to take up a little bit more of what he's having. When he looks around, when you guys enter, you see that the right eye is completely cut away by a horrible scar. Beyond that, you see at the closest table to you, there is someone currently performing a dance on the table. It seems that these are kind of constructed for that, right? So the tables are also bolted down, not easily moved, whereas the chairs are. And it's this very graceful half-elf woman who's currently performing for what seems to be a very kind of cloaked up human. Then you have male. Then you have another human woman who's enjoying it quite loudly. She's cheering and she's throwing money and just generally being quite raucous. And then beyond that, you see, kind of leaning back a little bit, is this gray-skinned creature that when they breathe and it seems like their form just kind of shifts a little bit. You're not sure what type of creature that is, but it's definitely not an average visitor to Postizia. Beyond that, there are still more people, but we'll get to those if you choose to investigate them. Yes?
I just would you kindly when you're describing certain people, just ping them just for me to be sure, because I was.
I mean, in this case, it was this one, this
and then
one.
this, and then this.
Yes, and this is the strange one.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I was about to say, actually, that beyond them, you see another table. You see in the corner, there's more people. You can choose to go and talk to them as you like. You can describe them according to their tokens. But more notably, to your left, you see that there's another, quite a heavy-set dwarf currently drinking wildly at the bar. In the middle of the bar, there sits what seems to be a sort of taller halfling. Halfling, you think. You're not sure though. And at the end of the bar, most notably, sits a elf. Like, you notice the pointed ears immediately, very graceful, but with just completely dark skin. And she's currently just leaning over the bar, sipping at what seems to be some kind of cocktail. And behind the bar stands what seems to be the owner of the place, a very tall, red-skinned dragonborn. And that's pretty much the most notable things that you notice immediately. But from here on, you guys can choose to speak to whoever you like.
And the
You know,
tables all are taken?
The tables, for now, all seem to be mainly taken, but you can obviously split up, or you can ask if you could occupy a particular table, or maybe they have more tables in the back. You're not sure.
Is this like a booth or something?
Yes, those are booths.
Okay. I just turn to, as I scan this environment, I just turn to Jean-Jacques and I think, well, these people in here make our group seem normal.
Wow.
Insane.
Yeah, I gotta say, it's colorful here this evening. I mean, seems like all the tables are taken. We can maybe ask if there are some out back. Maybe we can take one of the booths, but I don't think there is any place where we can fit all of us together.
Well, from what I've heard, I would need some change in this place, right?
Well,
So-
yeah, I mean, you would need some money. Be
No.
careful.
Not money, change, more specifically.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what I heard. I don't know. I'm not going to argue with you. You're the
no, it's good. I think having silver pieces is probably good. Gold if you're very generous. Platinum if you're looking to be.
That's what you meant by change.
That's
Okay.
what I meant by change.
Sonny, we're not gonna change.
Because I only realized that I only had gold pieces on me. So I turned to them and I said, I'm gonna head to the counter, grab myself a drink, and get some change on at least 2 gold pieces. And I am going to just get here in the counter
Okay.
between the dwarf and it's a halfling.
A halfling, yes.
Yeah, between the dwarf and the halfling.
All right. So as you move up, Ternock, and the rest of the party still trying to decide, are we going here or there? Maybe they move at the same time, but as you do at least, the bartender, of course, immediately takes notice, but he's currently still briefly talking with the dark elf at the end of the bar. As you stand there waiting for his attention, the halfling just kind of looks up and smiles a little bit and throws back her hair and looks up at you and says, "Oh, hi. Are you here for service? We can help you."
Right now, I'm warming up, but thank you.
Okay, well, just let me know. I can help you find whatever you're looking for. Not everyone's out here, so just let me know if you need anything special. And she just briefly puts a hand on your hand, squeezes, and then let's go. At that point, the bartender, bartender owner, comes over and eyes you up and down for a moment, and then nods gruffly, this kind of recognition of who you both are in this place. And he says, "Evening. How can I help you?"
Evening, sir. I would like. I look back, kind of to count how many people we have,
Okay.
and then I kind of shout, we all drinking.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, I think everyone is in agreement.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I just say 5 large ales, and how much is that exactly?
He looks over at your group. He says, "You all look like a fine group. Going to be spending some coin here, right?
That's the plan, sir.
Take the first ones on the house." And he starts pouring several large ales in a row. He briefly snaps his fingers at the dwarf sitting next to you, and the dwarf just kind of looks up. "What? All right." And he gets up and he heads behind the bar for a moment, and he starts dragging out chairs which he's putting around the fireplace where the rest of you have seemingly so far congregated, so that at least you have a place to sit for the moment.
And I take out 2 gold pieces. Okay. As he's filling, I say, this one's for your hospitality and for your services. Thank you very much. And I would like some change as well in silver pieces, if possible. The other one, I guess.
Well, I appreciate that. Not a problem. And he takes the coin. He hands you back 10 silver pieces in exchange. 10 silver guilders. Very similar in makeup and make as the gold, simply smaller. And silver, of course. So you have exchanged 1 gold coin. And you're also provided with the ales, which you can ferry back and forth to the group as you guys presumably sit down around the hearth. And you notice that several of the people around the room have taken notice of you now. There's a kind of silver-haired half-elf across the room who's kind of eyeballing you guys a little bit, interested. He definitely seems to have a particular interest in Core. She's kind of staring at him. But nobody's approaching. They're kind of giving you space to do whatever you want. The performances are going on. You know, there are other customers to serve as well. But definitely, it seems that that you've caught some attention. And as the dwarf places the last chair, he just kind of goes like, "There you go. You need anything else? Ask him." And he points over to the Dragonborn. And he goes back to drinking at the bar.
Yeah, and as I was like kind of moving myself with 2 mugs at a time, you know,
Yeah.
just thinking it over, I just say to them, well, if we're here, we might as well have a little bit of fun, right? And if we're not drinking, we're definitely not mingling. So
Didn't you say we shouldn't get distracted?
This is not distraction. This is a way to do business in a more efficient way.
Barnack
I
will
like the
chime
way
in.
you think.
Sorry, Barnack will chime in and say, "This is the only way to do business."
Well, I do need some relaxing.
Yeah, I'll look at.
I'll tell you
Sonny,
about it
this-
later.
This is the strategy. The strategy, and I'll just chug the whole ale.
Jean-Jacques will try to do the same, but not really have the stomach for it. So he'll just like make a show of not really trying, kind of thing. You know, like I tried, but I didn't really. Like I was kidding. You know.
All right, all right.
Obviously.
All right, so Core, the first one's a freebie, but you definitely feel like that's some heavy ale. So, and he ordered a large, so future attempts may come with more
I'm like,
difficulties.
I'll think like that was too much.
Mistake.
So, Kev, I know that, you know, what I saw was a cloaked figure.
Yes.
But as I'm sitting there, like, I'm trying to, you know, at least rule out, you know, a few of these folks. Like, I know that I haven't seen, and I'm just...
Yeah, I mean, you know the general body type, right, that you saw, and height and that sort of thing. They're, like, the exceptionally tall and the exceptionally short here definitely fall out. Like, it wasn't an exceptionally bulky person, and they were definitely human-sized at least, maybe hunched over, so maybe a slightly taller, but, you know, the Dragonborn is definitely out. The half-elves all seem to match. It might have also been, you know, you can't really tell, maybe one of the dwarves has some human blood in them, so they're a bit taller. It's hard to tell right now, but, yeah, you can definitely identify the people that you think are more likely. As you're looking around like this, by the way, and you also notice that where that silver-haired half-elf is, across from him, there sits another, what seems to be probably also half-elf, but less elf, more human. And he is actually just kind of leaning forward a little bit, has a very sad, pouty expression on his face. You get the impression, like, from reddish eyes that he's been crying. And he's not doing so good. And as he's sitting there, you see that the owner and the dark elf have a brief conversation again. The dark elf actually goes over and goes to one knee beside him and briefly talks with him a little bit, trying to seemingly urge him into something. And then when that doesn't seem to work, she gets up, frustrated, and says, "Well, if you're just going to cry, then get out of here." And she goes back to the bar and leaves him there. So, what would you guys like to do? who would you like to talk to? Or what would you like to investigate, observe, purchase? You notice probably a sign by now behind the bar, which states the average prices. And you notice that it says for 10 minutes, it's 4 silver. 20 minutes is 8 silver. 30 minutes is a guilder. 1 hour is 2 guilders. And a whole night would be 10 guilders.
Turn to Barneck and I say, look at that, Barneck. For 4 silver, you can have 10 times as much fun as you normally do. I love Milos not being here. This is so good.
Yeah, you're just taking cheap shots at Barneck. And he's just like, "Damn."
Milos, when you watch this back, I want you to take every insult he makes and come up with a response, and that's what Barneck will have said. And we'll go over it. We'll just set aside 20 minutes at the start of the next session just to get through your insults.
But no, I kind of,
comebacks.
After a few minutes, I finish my drink, and I say to the rest, I'll be right back. I'm gonna get myself another one of these, and then I'll move to the side of the bar where the dark elf is, and you kind of get into their peripheral vision or something, and I point to the chair and say, "Is this your taken?"
She briefly takes a moment, just completely neutral expression, to take you in, and the moment that she does, you just see a wide smile creep across her features. And she just inclines her head and waits for you to sit down and say what you have to say.
Thank you kindly. So I sit down and I kind of wave over to the bartender, and I say, "I'll have a glass of wine, please, and then whatever the lady's drinking as well."
She just kind of looks at him, nods. Seems that she works here, so they know exactly how to communicate. And pretty soon you're both served a glass of white wine, seemingly a very good glass as well. So I would say that probably costs you a silver piece here. It's not exactly high quality wine, but it'll serve.
I look at her and I say, "I hope you don't mind striking up a conversation with me. I can say that I've seen," and he kind of like gives her an appraising look. Says, "An individual of your impressive nature before. Might I ask what brings you to Postizia?"
So smooth. God damn.
Should I go sleep with him now? No.
It's John Jack only. Nikolai in real life is just like,
dark skin.
Yeah, drugs and drinking like.
So she briefly mulls it over, and you get the impression she's being very, calculated about this whole thing, and she just drinks a sip of her wine, and looks you in the eyes again, and you notice that those eyes are as dark as the rest of her. It's very impressive as far as looks go. And when she answers you, she says, "Well, what else would bring my kind here except exile?"
I see, a story of woe.
Woe or liberation.
It does have a much nicer ring to it.
I think so. And what brings you to the city? Do you live here?
No, I'm merely visiting. I'm, how would we put this? I think an adventuring soul, so to say. I
Adventuring
move
soul?
across the Republic. Yeah.
Oh my. And what do you do to find your adventure?
Well, I usually get myself into a lot of trouble, and then get myself out of it with the help of some friends. That's the gist of it. But, yeah.
She looks over her shoulder at your friends and smiles a little bit. So, we can have sultry conversations all evening, but in the interest of getting to some sort of a point, what do you kind of try to navigate towards in your conversation?
Yeah, so I keep the chatting going on a little bit, but then I kind of, what I'm interested in is what's happening with that other half-elf.
Right.
That's my primary sort of purpose, and then kind of see what, like, I can see she's working here, but I want to find out, is she like a floor employee, or is she management, or
Okay. So make a persuasion check first. And in the meantime, by the way, any of you, like, anything that you want to do or try or investigate or talk to, please let me know, and we'll get to that, of course.
Yes. I'd like to first a question to the DM. Which one is the half elves that are correct? This one?
Yes.
This one.
The right one.
This one. Okay.
Yes.
And who told him to stop with the bullshit? Was this
The dark elf, the one that Jean-Jacques.
Oh, the dark elf. Okay. Okay.
No,
25.
25.
Okay. So, okay. Now to my action, I go to the same spot that I was before, and I turn to. Is the halfling still there? She is, right?
Yes.
And I turn to her and say, "Excuse me, ma'am. My two friends over there," and I point to Kor and Baranek, and especially the other one over there, and I point to Tani. They would like to know who in the premises here. It's and you see that it's awkward for him to ask that to her.
Okay.
Would provide the services that you were offering me before.
She kind of looks at you a little funny, but after listening to you, she smiles, puts a hand on your hand again. She's a very touchy-feely kind of person, and immediately starts with, "Please don't call me ma'am. I'm not that old. You can call me Serana. That's my name." And
Nice to meet you, Serana. And I stop her, and because that's something Ternock do.
Okay.
I just shake my hand and I extend my hand and I say Ternock.
Okay. She takes your hand, very delicately as delicately as she can, but immediately you notice that there's also kind of a more, I don't want to say tomboyish, but definitely a sort of more rougher side to her. She just swings around in the chair. You notice that the chair kind of has that capacity, and she leans back, on the bar with her elbows. She starts kind of picking out people in the crowd. So obviously she points to the two table dancers. She says that the closest one, the half elf female that is dancing here, is Athelin, and she will kind of lean in conspiratorially and say, "She's the most wanted here. If you want to spend time with her, you'll have to pay twice the price. Just so you know." And then she goes on and she points to the other one. That's Edifier. That's Lavender in the corner. So Edifier, Lavender. And she gets to the crying half elf and she says, "That's Clement. I don't think he's working right now. And if he were, you probably wouldn't want to spend time with him, if you know what I mean. But yeah, that's Clement. And him we just call...
One?
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Yeah,
Okay.
the crying one. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And him we just call Silverer. I mean, and she just gestures for his hair, like, kind of obvious, right? Oh, and of course, there's me, Serana. We've met. And over there is, talking with your friend, is Ganda. And, yeah, any of us will be very happy to, provide any services that you might need. She smiles at you.
Okay.
All right. So before we go on there, JJ, as you talk with Ganda, as you may overhear even as while you guys are sitting at the bar, she is. You get the impression, especially with that role, she is sort of management, like unofficially. She's the most senior of the people who work here, so she helps to oversee things. Officially, the sort of floor manager is Serana, so that's probably where she also gets the idea to introduce, the various people that work here. And the crier, you also find out that his name is Clement, and that about whatever is troubling him, she doesn't necessarily highlight, but she says, I mean, if you are really interested, you'll have to talk to him, I suppose. But there are much better ways to spend your time here tonight, Jean-Jacques. And she just kind of leans forward for a moment.
Yeah, I'll just keep talking to her for a little bit and kind of, I take the hint that she was, putting forth, and I lean into it. I kind of make my interest apparent. But I mostly, just keep talking her up. And then my other two things that I'd like to know is a little bit more about her people and, her history, if she's willing to share. And because I don't think Jean-Jacques really knows that much. and then also any kind of gossip, the things happening around the town that she's found interesting and things like that.
Right.
I share a bit about my stories, make myself look really good. Of course, every success is because of me. Every failure I correct.
Sure.
The standard.
Typical. Yeah. Typical Jean-Jean.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's fairly easy to do because you notice very quickly that pressing her on any point towards her people, she starts like pulling away immediately.
Yeah.
So you kind of steer the conversation away from that, not to scare her off, and you do eventually. You get the various rumors. She doesn't tell you about Clement, having already told you that she talked to him, but like a little bit of drama here in the brothel. You hear a bit about her politics, as everyone is a little bit involved in politics. Nothing really interesting or special about it, but she does tell you that there's been this kind of strange fella staying here at the Siren's Repose, and he never buys anything, and she thinks that Dromon, the owner, is probably quite unhappy about it. So if there's any trouble, that she kind of suggests that you should just come to her and you guys can hide away together.
Okay. And does she point that individual out, or mentions
sorry, Drom. Yeah.
here?
No, not the individual. Like she looks around. He's not here.
Okay.
At the moment, no.
All right. And what time is it right now?
It's probably been about 15 minutes since you guys arrived, so let's say a quarter to
or
7.
15?
15, 1-5.
15? Okay.
Yeah. How approximately would it take me? Like an hour to the park?
Well, your meeting place, so I would say probably about 30 minutes to get that river.
All right. Cool. All right.
So, in addition, we can return to Ternock, but I want to ask quickly, Tani, Core, anything you guys want to do?
The lizard man, what's he doing? Like,
He has gotten up once to go get a drink at the bar, exchanging a very brief exchange with the owner. But he's now just very slowly sipping away at his drink, and I guess you can make an insight check to see if you can deduce a little bit about whatever he might be doing.
Yeah, sure. Okay, let's see.
As for me, I'm sipping my large ale. Like, I have both hands, just sipping, trying to tell myself to relax, snap out of it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so tiny little, I mean, I have to almost imagine it like a bit like a younger teenager or child, even, the way that you would sit behind the mug, so sitting there at the fire, hiding away, I guess, from the rest a bit. Core.
Yeah, trying to forget what happened
Right.
later in the last session.
So I would say Bardak is probably kind of sticking with you a little bit, just concerned. He's taking in the sights, but he's going to stick with Tani a bit. Not addressing it, but still concerned for her. And convenient for me, of course. So Core, as you observe the lizard man a bit, you notice that he seems to be doing nothing at all, except sometimes you catch him glancing at the doors. Just seems to be observing or waiting for someone to step in.
Okay. The guy that was like eyeing us, and specifically me, was the silver-haired
Yes, silver.
guy on the.
Yeah.
And he is just alone there, right?
Yep. He's currently alone. He's just kind of like, he's shirtless, just pants on, just kind of relaxing. Probably like arm over the back of his chair. He's got like some smaller type of glass, maybe with a scotch in it or something. And just kind of swirling it, drinking a little bit and watching, but definitely spending special attention on you, Core.
Okay, I'll just grab my ale and just move over like here, just walking and watching the people. And
Okay.
whatever.
Alright, yeah,
But keeping an eye on that silver-haired guy to see what he's
Okay.
doing, like
Okay.
trying to that he doesn't notice I'm watching him.
Okay. I mean, he is actively paying
I'm
attention
not,
to you, so.
yeah, and I'm not trying too hard either because I'm kind of getting drunk. So.
Okay. So you just start wandering. You see some of the performances. It's all sorts of dances and even just sometimes in between they just sit and talk with the patrons and receive some coin here or there, discussing possibly spending some time together. You do notice as you're walking, and all of you, just become aware of it. But here in the back, Lavender and the dwarf that she was talking to both disappear into some of the back rooms, presumably to conduct business. But yeah, you can wander about and kind of have a look. He keeps an eye on you as well, and you definitely make more eye contact than you would have liked if you wanted to stay completely hidden. But
Yeah.
in your slightly inebriated state, you feel like quite the spy.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like talking to people that like getting in between conversations like awkwardly.
Oh
like-
boy. Okay. All right. So Ternock, was there anything else you wanted to do? Speaking to Serana.
Not to Sorona specifically, but I'm going to order another drink.
Okay.
I reach out to Dromon and I say, I would like something stronger now. But just a bit, though. Don't want to ruin my night that early.
All right. What have you got in mind? Or do you want to be surprised?
Yeah, surprise me, please.
I hate doing surprises. And he just kind of, literally, is just kind of caught off guard because he didn't want to say that and suggest something, and he just kind of, just a second. And he goes over and he produces like two different types of bottles. One looks kind of like a sort of vodka kind of stuff, and the other one is quite a dark, maybe a bourbon. You're not sure. And he kind of holds them up. He says, he taps the vodka like substance, and he says, "This one's 1 silver, and the other one will run you 5 silver. So, which one are you interested in?"
The more expensive one, please.
Alright, good choice. He plonks the other one down, and he actually produces like quite a nice, what seems to be a crystal glass, and puts it on the counter. Careful with that. And he pours you a glass of what seems to be quite an expensive kind of bourbon.
I throw another gold piece at him and I just say, the rest of it I'll fill in in the rest of the night. Don't worry.
All right.
Make good use of those my remaining 5 silver pieces.
Right. Like as you're about to turn away, like he's caught the silver piece or the gold piece, and as you're about to turn away, he just quickly bites it to check if it's real. Since you've been throwing gold pieces around, like he's getting suspicious, but he just, oh, all right, and he puts it away.
So I turn my back to them and I want to head here, and I'm going to approach kind of calmly, slowly. I'm going to check out Tiny and Barnack, and then I'm going to just continue on to, and I'm going to stop right here, and I say, ladies, gentlemen, would you mind me joining you for this performance?
Come on, sit down already. And like she interrupts you,
okay.
the quite loud and seemingly drunk lady sitting here to the bottom.
Which is this
like,
one. Okay.
Yeah, she seems to be quite a sort of savage, probably out of town type of person. But she's here now and she's having the time of her life. So she kicks out the chair that you can still sit on here and invites you to join. And she immediately just kind of like, she puts forward a coin purse, and you see several silver coins, like gems also spill out and stuff like that. She quickly puts that back in, and she just grabs a couple silver coins, tosses it at the feet of the performer, and she says, all right, next up, him. Give him all your attention. The lady performing immediately turns all her attention to Ternock.
Yeah, so I sit down, and I'm sitting kind of like this with both of my elbows on my thighs, like kind of a little bit tense still.
Okay.
Like I am watching the performance, but I am a little bit tense. And, I take a heavy sip on the drink, like a big one, not enough to actually clean the glass, but a big one, and I don't unsheath my sword, but I take the sword with the sheath and I put on my lap, and I
Okay.
kind of relax a little bit on the bench, and I'm just watching there. And as I'm watching, like kind of looking to the performers though, so and I say, you come here often, like to the other, to everybody, in the table,
Okay.
at the table.
As you ask this, you get a myriad of very different responses. So the man to your left, who's kind of clad in these dark clothes and hiding himself a little bit, ignores you pretty much. Like he looks at you, you make eye contact for a moment, but then he just
Do I?
turns.
We do make eye contact?
Yeah, you briefly make eye
Do I-
contact with the heavily cloaked one, but he immediately looks away again to the performance.
Was it enough for me to distinguish between human, half elf, something like that?
You think maybe human underneath, but
Okay.
like human half elf is definitely very close, so it could be one or the other. You just don't see any pokey ears sticking out. So for the moment, human seems to be a safe bet. Across the table, looking for the next response, the strange gray-skinned person sitting there. And now that you're closer, you see that there's kind of like this yeah, everything about them seems to just swirl, like it's made of air. And they just kind of make eye contact with you and shake their head. Lastly, or rather immediately probably, the lady that invited you to sit down immediately just goes like, well, no, I haven't been here before, but I'm definitely going to come again. This is amazing. This is the best place ever. I can't believe I never went to the city before. Oh my god.
For the sake of time, she's the person who I'm going to conduct
Okay.
a conversation with, a normal conversation.
Okay.
But my attention basically is going to be turned to this dude, the cloaky key. Okay, so I'm going to conduct conversation with this woman, and ask her about her biddings, what brought her here, what brought her here actually to Postizia, right? Not to.
Okay.
And but I'm going to pay attention to the reactions of this other dude, and whatever he does, if he does something, my intention is to notice.
Okay. So I will say make 3 perception checks as kind of your continuous span of attention.
Okay.
While you're talking with her, and you start asking her questions, and she keeps like trying to get you to say how great this is and how it's a nice performance, but it's definitely not as mind blowing perhaps as it seems to be to her. But she seems to be quite wealthy, and she tells you that she makes her money on the hippogriff hunt. So she sails like as part of a crew, and they go around and they capture hippogriff eggs from their nests on cliffs in the mid-sea. So that is pretty much what she does, and she tells you like great stories of like this big mean bastard came in once and like almost threw me off, but then I just ripped his head off, and like it's a very visceral, like brutal kind of person. But
you actually got me there, so perhaps I should roll at least one of the perception checks with disadvantage, because I got interested in her story and I actually got caught up. I'm just going to send this here, just because this is a level 7 ability that I'm going to put to use the first time now.
Okay.
Which allows me to, whenever I'm doing... Oh, it's persuasion. Nah, I'm sorry. I thought it was perception. Never mind.
Oh, okay.
But perhaps it's going to be useful here later on.
Perhaps.
It's just, yeah. Okay, so 3 perception checks.
Yes. All right. So, I will say, throughout this conversation, as you briefly also keep an eye on your teammates, and we'll get to that in a moment. But as you're looking around and you're keeping an eye on this guy, he, about halfway through, he definitely makes eye contact with you a few times, like that in passing, where you immediately look away, but it still happens. And after the 3rd or 4th time of this, he seems to get uncomfortable. He places a few more silver coins at the feet of the dancer, and he gets up and he begins to leave.
He begins to leave?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
All right. So why don't you decide what you want to do for a moment there, and we'll go catch up with the others. So, Cor, Tani, and Jean-Jacques. What would you like to be up? Well, Jean-Jacques is on the phone, but Cor and Tani, what would you like to be up to?
Let me think. Go ahead, Tani.
Throwing Tani in the deep end.
Yeah.
I think by now I would have emptied my mug of ale, and so I'll walk towards the bar, not really looking at anyone, but
Okay.
I am like, if you know me by now, so if you, I don't know, look my way, you'll see that I'm still a bit stiff, still a bit tense, but I am trying to like relax my hands and try to make a
Okay.
performance, but I'm failing
All right.
still.
So,
Yeah, I'll order something, and I'll sit there.
So another mug of ale will cost you half a silver piece, so 5 coppers. As you sit there and you've ordered, you notice that the halfling to your right is just kind of looking at you, intrigued, bemused, definitely curious. And after a moment of silence, of you guys like acknowledging each other, but then she pipes up and she says, "All right there, honey. You feeling okay? Need some company?"
Yeah. I just had a rough day trying to forget about it.
I mean, this is the place to forget about rough days.
Yeah. Yeah, that's sort of why my friends and I are here.
That's good. You see anyone you like? My name's Serana, by the way.
Oh. Oriana.
Oriana.
Finishes with Anna. Both. Yeah.
That's true. She just kind of like tries to indulge, but it doesn't really impress her, you know. So she kind of has that motherly vibe of, you know, oh yeah, definitely, great catch.
Yeah, no one in particular yet.
No?
I don't know. Still drinking.
All right. Well, what do you want to talk about it? You know, what's making you drink? We can talk here, or we can take a booth, a bedroom.
Nah. I'm trying to forget it, so telling the story again. Yeah.
Sure. Well, what do you want to talk about then? She just kind of, you know, keeps trying to engage you in conversation and talking, but do you feel like indulging her, or do you think Tani is more gonna keep brushing her off?
I'm gonna slowly start to maybe open up a bit more. Like, as
Okay.
we continue talking, then
Okay. Interesting.
and I'll just ask about her, like, how is life here? How did they treat her? Stuff like that.
Oh, life here is pretty great. Dromon looks after us, and you know, if you do your work properly, and you notice that she says that with a kind of look over her shoulder at someone, presumably the person who's been crying for a while. But if you do your work properly, I mean, it's pretty much the best job in the world. You get to talk to people all day, meet new people all day, and just have a great time, and you get paid for it. What's not to love, right? Plus, we're right on the sea. It's always nice. I mean, it's a bit cold now, but in the summer, pretty much the best view in the city.
Is this called normal? And do you know why he's crying? Is it normal that he cries?
You see like exasperation overflow a little bit, and she looks over her shoulder. I don't know what's wrong with that boy. Look, we all go through rough times, and I sympathize, but he's had a few days and he's still not over it. And that just doesn't really work, you know. You gotta earn your keep around here. But if you want to know why, I guess you'll have to talk to him. Trust me, it won't be as much fun as talking to me.
Okay.
All right.
And what about the weather? I don't know why she's curious about this, but
All right. Yeah.
is it always this cold? Is it normal? Is it because of the storm?
I mean, it's probably the storm. Some storm coming. They happen around this time of year, you know. You're not. Are you new to the city? Looked a bit like a local, maybe.
Yeah, not really, no.
Okay. No. Yeah, it gets really cold sometimes in the winter, which we technically still are in for a bit. But just wait for spring, and then everything clears up. And in the meantime, cozy up in a warm bedroom with someone you like. It's a good way to get through the winter. She's quite, she stays on message, let's say.
Jean-Jacques is like overhearing probably because he's sitting next to her. He's just tempted to go like, all right, we get it.
No, I just laugh at her comments and yeah.
Okay.
I relax a little bit.
Yeah, so you guys talk and chat. All right. So before we return to Ternock, Cora and Jean-Jacques, what are you guys getting up to?
For my end, I see that Tani is doing better now. He had half a mind to, for the moment, abandon this conversation and go talk to her, but she seems like she's doing better now. So he skips that, turns over, and sees Ternock is otherwise occupied, and will seize the moment and will disappear with the dark elf lady for 20 minutes.
Okay. All right, that'll be 8 silver for you.
Yeah, and then as he does, he'll yada yada yada, make sure that she goes. He suggests she goes in front of him, and then sends a message with subtle spell to Ternock, and just says, "One patron acting weird, not buying anything, not here now. Keep an eye out."
Okay.
Hopefully that's
So,
okay with the
here
message
now.
spell.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Ternock, you can, I think, technically think something back, right?
He needs to whisper it, but
Okay.
nobody else except me hears it. So I don't know if you would want, because you're still in front of people, so
Yeah.
they will see you whispering without anybody hearing anything. But
So it's up to you.
Jean-Jacques will, if I can insert, you don't have to reply to this message.
No, I look at him and I see exactly what he's doing, and I say,
I give him a
"Okay,
wink."
thank you. Go fuck." And I turn my attention back to
Okay.
what's going on.
So the moment you turn your attention back, the performer is attempting to crawl into your lap. Do you allow this?
Yes.
Yes.
But and the dude's still leaving, right?
Yeah, he's still leaving. Like, he's probably towards the door by now.
Mm-hmm. And I just turn to him. I say, "Hey, you're going to miss all the fun. The night has not even started yet." If he doesn't turn, I'm going to say something immediately after. Like, I don't want
He
him
looks
to leave.
like he stops for a moment. He looks over his shoulder and he pulls down the part that's covering his mouth, and he says, "Looks more like your fun than mine, friend." And he puts it back up. You see his
Well,
face. It does not look familiar.
It does not look familiar at all.
So, anything else you want to do as she's kind of occupying you now?
I wanted to do something, but I just think this is going to be like, I just think it's going to be like a bad call, and yeah.
It's up to you, man. It's completely your choice.
Yeah.
What would Ternock do?
I was just fuck this. Yeah. What I was going to say, I say, hey, you're going to miss the best part. I'm going to tell like this really, really good story about the old king's crown.
Okay. So you name drop this, and kind of scan for a reaction around you. Mm-hmm. Nobody seems to give any reaction, including the guy walking away. Like, he doesn't even twitch. Like, and even just with your passive insight, there's no sense of recognition. It just kind of goes like, okay, whatever. The dancer in your lap does go, what's the old king's crown?
Okay. And I say really, really quietly to her, well, since you're the only one interested, perhaps we can chat about this in a more private place.
Of course. But there is a reason that my prices are higher than anyone else's. Are you ready?
For a chat in a more private place? Yes, I'm ready.
All right. She.
And,
A chat.
Yeah.
Those words in the brothel are very, very scary.
She gets up and immediately just kind of extends her hand to you and starts pulling you along into the very private areas of a bedroom in the back.
Okay. You guys do something. I need to plan what No, just joking.
No, I mean,
know
there's
what I'm
Core.
talking about.
Core, I am curious about what Core is achieving right now.
She's not achieving much. But nah, I'll. The silver-haired guy, he hasn't moved, right? He's still eyeing me and everything. So
Yeah, pretty much.
okay, I'm gonna approach him, kind of bothered by him eyeing me all this time,
Okay.
and I'm gonna just go straight up to him and I'll tell him, friend,
Okay.
do you have business with me? What are you looking at me so much for?
So as you approach him, he gets up immediately. You notice he's as tall as you. Quite muscular, like I said, shirtless. And he just stands really close to you and he just looks you up and down the whole time while he talks to you. Doesn't really look you in the face that much, actually. And he says,
Eyes up here, pal.
he just chuckles and says, no, but you know what this place is, yes? You've come here with a purpose. I thought perhaps I could help you reach that purpose.
If you can get me another ale, then you will help me reach my purpose. That's all I'm doing.
He leans forward and at least he tries to whisper into your ear. I don't know if you allow this.
No, I'll like.
Okay, so he tries
What?
and he just kind of pulls back a little bit, looks at you funny, like he doesn't really understand. No, I'm not a server, but you came up to me. If you do not want to spend time with me, you do not have to, but I just have to say I'm very, very intrigued. We don't get many like you in here. Big and strong like this.
I'll look around and I'll see like several other, like the lizard guy and the bartender. Like there seems to be plenty like me.
He follows your gaze. He says, "No, those are employees. They do not partake in our services. But you, I think you and I could make each other very happy. Come on, aren't you curious?" And he steps like maybe an inch closer still. And it's you guys are like this close if you don't step away.
No, I'm just gonna look at him for like a second, and I'll just turn around without saying anything and walk away. Like
as you walk away,
myself, like that did not go like I expected.
As you walk away, he just raises his voice and he says, "Well, you know where to find me, big boy." And he sits back down.
Core is maximum edge tonight.
I'll go straight to the bar.
You're
Give me the
fine,
hardest ale you have right now.
All right. So that'll be a silver piece for stronger ale. I will say you guys are here.
I'm gonna go grab some more coffee.
Okay. I'm just moving people into the areas kind of where they are. Here. Alright. And Core is at the bar. Nearby, Tani and Sarana are still talking. And, yeah, Core, you are served your ale. And Jomon, the Dragonborn, just kind of leans forward for a moment. And he asks, something wrong with silver? Not your kind of thing? Got others, you know.
I'm fine. I don't even want to talk about it.
Alright. Well, if we could do anything to make your stay more pleasant, just let me know. And he...
Don't you start now.
Start what?
Never mind. I'll just drink.
He just looks confused, like, huh? Okay. So he goes back to serving the bar, and, you know, like, maybe he probably even drops in on the conversation with Sarana and Tani for a bit, like, hey, everything going okay? Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Just general pleasantness. But as far as I can tell, at least 2 of you are presently occupied elsewhere, so we could venture into those the conversational parts, if anything is to be discovered. But before we do, I just want to ask, so Cora's drinking, Tani is talking with Serana. Is there anything you guys would want to do in the next 20-ish minutes or so, aside from obviously keeping an eye out for anyone that looks suspicious or strange? And it can be nothing as well. You can just keep talking and drinking and kind of chilling for a bit.
I would want to make myself a bit useful, and slowly steer the conversation towards the type of people that come in, because I figure in her line of work, she observes lots of different people, and we'll try to, I don't know, have her,
Okay.
I don't know, describe weird people.
Okay, definitely.
Because I don't know, Jean-Jacques already knows. And
Yeah.
And every time she mentions anything about going to a room or something, I allude to the fact that, I don't know, I've never even, I've never. And I finish at that.
Okay. I would say that she's definitely understanding, and maybe even eases off on the pressure a little bit, leaving off her offer with just saying, if you want to discover, then I'm here for you. But after you say that, like more directly, she definitely starts looking around the room a little bit, and you see that she catches the attention of a few of the patrons that are now without performances, as several of the employees have been occupied. But as for the types of people, she describes to you a vast array of all sorts, but definitely the primary type is sailors, people traveling through here, as well as, and so the other type of people are, she kind of says it delicately, but essentially criminals. She even briefly touches upon, or she's about to say like red sashes probably, but she stops herself, maybe at a glance from the bartender, and prevents herself from elaborating further. But you definitely get the impression that the red sashes have some presence here from time to time. So that's, I think, what you would discover there through just casual conversation. If there were any more specific information that might be harder, or if you wanted to press on the red sashes, then that would probably be a persuasion check to see if you can loosen that information from her. And I will say, on the side, since Core, you started drinking on your own, Barnack probably joins you for the moment, having decided that maybe he's going to keep an eye on Tani, as she was looking quite, troubled earlier. Just to make sure that everything goes alright. And, to make sure that he doesn't prove Jean-Jacques right and say that he doesn't have to pay, whereas Jean-Jacques just did.
Right. He's just waiting to say, I told you, like, who's paying now?
Alright. So yeah. Gentlemen who have entered the private arena, is there anything that you particularly wish to find out there, or is it just generally, I got the impression Ternock was especially interested in finding out more and talking, whereas Jean-Jacques was literally just, okay, I did my thing, I'm just going to do my other thing, and then I'm going to get back to business. That was my impression.
Okay. Pretty much. But at the end, as he's getting dressed or something, he'll just ask her, like, do you think it will be okay if I were to approach Drummond to inquire about this individual that's given him trouble? I don't want to put you in a bad spot or anything. I don't know if you were supposed to tell me or not.
Okay. Well, let's determine her demeanor first. Why don't you quickly roll a performance check?
Okay. Motherfucker. Okay.
Natural one, please.
Close. 14.
Okay. That'll work. All right, so she's just kind of relaxing still, probably still lying in the bed while you're already getting ready. And she just kind of looks up at you. It would probably be best if you didn't mention it to him. It's something that bothers him, and really, what's your business poking your nose in? Probably just let it rest. He'll handle it. He's got some folks around to make sure that it's taken care of.
All right. Well, and I put my hand into my pouch and I produce another gold piece. I put it on the nightstand. I'll be like, "You take care of yourself. I come and see you again." I kind of tip my proverbial hat because I don't have one, and I exit the
Okay.
room.
As you exit, she just says, "I hope that you do," and you leave, and she is left in the chamber, presumably probably to clean up. There's some very nice facilities that you've seen going through the building, and you can return after 20 minutes to the floor. Ternock, you left soon after Jean-Jacques to a private chamber. She points out like this little bowl, and it was the same for Jean-Jacques actually, I just failed to mention it, but there's this little bowl where you have to place your payment in advance essentially. So she gestures for it, and she says, "I remember. 10 minutes, 8 silver. 20 minutes, 16 silver." And it just goes up from there. So what did you have in mind?
So I do place 5 gold pieces in that pot.
She just
And
kind of
I-
stares for a moment.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I sit down wherever, I don't know, a bed or
Yeah, it's basically it's a bed.
it's
like,
a
there's
room
bed.
with a bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I sit down and I ask her how often or how common it is for somebody to pay for your time but not your services.
She kind of still stares at the gold for a moment, probably not having expected quite this much. As far as payment goes, you guys are probably a little wealthier than her average clientele. And she smiles, turns around, and approaches you immediately. And like you notice, like you are in private, so her clothes just fall right off as she comes towards you. And basically, I'm not going to get into detail because that's not the kind of session that we run. But larger question: do you proceed and talk with her, or do you stop her explicitly and only speak with her?
No, I don't stop her, but I'm not doing like any movements toward her. Like I am still fully clothed. I am,
Yeah, I
still
mean, she's
sitting
going to
in the
start
same spot.
undressing you essentially, and like because she's here for a job and she knows what her job is. She's not going to stop just because you ask her a few questions. So unless you explicitly tell her to stop,
Yeah, when like I allow her for a bit. Like
Okay.
I allow her to remove the upper part of my chest plate. I allow her,
Okay.
perhaps the shirt or whatever I had under it. But when she reached for the lower parts, I stopped her,
Okay.
and I asked the question again: How often does somebody pay for your time but not your services?
For my time.
Would it
that
be
number.
too weird for me to request attention and not the kind you're about to give me?
She pauses for a moment, and she's like large doe eyes, and you can see why she probably is the star performer here. Mainly just in her attitude and how she it seems like she's a probably accomplished actress as well. And she looks at you very sadly, and she says, "Am I not good enough for you?"
I point to I'm guessing that my chest plate is somewhere around.
Yeah, it's probably on the bed next to you.
I grab it, like I reach to it, I grab it and I point and I say, "See this? Do you know what this means?" And I point to the order, the sigil of the locked part.
I mean, no? Should I know?
I don't think you should, but I just think you should know that this means that I cannot. It's not a matter of you, most definitely. And I definitely check her up, like at that
Okay.
moment, like Turner kind of wants it, but he knows better. And I'm just wondering if I would have to pay more for a little bit of information in your confidentiality, or does that suffice? Just wanted to
She looks at you for another moment, and she looks over her shoulder at the gold that you've already deposited. I'll tell you what. And she, still butt naked. She goes to grab the bowl in which you deposit the coins. She takes it and she sits down on your lap. She says, anytime that I think you need to pay more for the question that you're asking, you can put another coin in.
And before I kind of ready up, but then I just glance at her. Were you really interested in the Old Crown story?
Of course I was. Why wouldn't I be?
Okay.
It's
I don't
more
know.
interesting than anything that happens around here.
If I tell you the full story, does that add a gold coin to that?
No, but I might give you another reward.
And if you promise me to keep your secrets, keep my secrets more specifically.
I mean, I can do all those things, but I can't give you gold back. That's against company policy.
Yeah.
But I can give you other rewards if that story is good enough. Like, she's still trying, to apply her wiles.
Yeah. At some point, I hope she understands that's not going to happen. But
she doesn't stop. Like, there's no understanding. The whole time this conversation happens, unless you physically push her away, she's going to be trying. She doesn't force anything, but she's going to be trying to. That's her
job.
Conduct her
business.
I
tell her what I tell her is the following. I tell in a detailed manner how I got here, but without naming too much. I detail more the action behind it rather than the story and how I got here and the things that I'm pursuing. Okay. It's more like, so there's this one thing that is the Old Crown, but I spend more time talking about, the gruesome details and a little bit of combat and adventure itself. And I expand a little bit on how, about the guys and the crew, just a bit, just a brief description of each of them. And I finish the story telling her that, I was here and then that I'm trying to find out more about this one individual that happened to cross my path here. And I briefly explained the situation, what was the context of the meeting. I'm not, there's this one guy that they're trying to exchange. Mm-hmm. And I don't know the connection with that this one guy has with the other things, but I don't add too much detail, not everything that I know.
Right.
But and I asked her, would you happen to know who this person is?
I would say as you get into more of the details of this, it still sounds like a sort of conspiracy going on. Uh-huh. As you get into more detail, you see her demeanor shift from this soft, doe-eyed actress, pretending to be vulnerable and eager, into this really confident young woman. And towards the end of your story, she actually just pulls up a chair nearby. You've probably had to pay for this question. She gestures to the bowl that now stands on the bed beside you. She says, add 2 gold pieces and I'll tell you what I know. And still without her clothes, but she sits very confidently, just back, leaning back in the chair, thinking about this. And it's a very dramatic shift in posture and just general feeling in the room. And as you deposit the coins, she looks at them for a moment and smiles, very, very pleased with the result so far. And she says, well, I'm afraid I lied before. I did see your insignia before. The man that's staying here, who's giving Dromon some trouble, he carries it as well. So, I suppose you must be connected to him somehow. But you probably best get to him before Dromon does, because if he shows up here again, which he should be back tonight, they're gonna do a little more than just rough him up. You've probably seen Clement crying in the room. And, I'm not gonna... It's Clement's grief to share, I suppose, but your friend, or foe, I don't know if your friends or foe, but whoever you're looking for, stood up for Clement when Dromon and Ganda were trying to get him back to work. And, when you do your work well, they're the nicest people. But when you don't do your work and you still take up food and lodging and you're bringing the room down, they're not so kind. And this person you're looking for seemed to take pity on him, and well, it was quite a sight. And she smiles a little pleased, really, at what she remembers. It was quite a sight to see this regular, slightly old man putting Dromon in his place. I mean, you've seen Dromon. He's not a small man. Not a small dragonborn. But, yeah, this guy, he's, I think there's some teeth behind his assurances that he would put Dromon on the ground. And I think Dromon noticed as well, so he hired some more significant muscle to even the score and throw him out of here.
Could you describe this man for me, please?
I mean, I haven't really paid attention to him. He's always declined my services, or anyone's really. He just sits in the corner sometimes and he reads a little bit and he eats and drinks and then he's out. He's not really here much, but from what I saw, graying hair, a little bald on top, definitely human. Not too tall, maybe like 5'7", 5'6", maybe, and muscular. Like I said, he had an insignia like yours. And let me check real quick for you. She also describes like a very distinctive kind of facial scar along the side here, where she says like it's knotted together like some awful war wound. I mean, we see those from time to time here, veterans from the war who passed through, but this looked, I mean, I've never seen anything quite as extreme as this. So that was quite something. And he wears quite a wide robe, but it looks like he's armored underneath. And I mean, he might have been wearing similar armor to what you have on, so I'm not sure. I haven't seen it, but it's possible. But the robe itself had the insignia on it. Make a history check.
History?
Yes. Okay, that's good enough. It's strange, you're not expecting this, but the description is reminiscent of your specific master within the Order of the Locked Heart.
So it does really ring a bell. Like,
yes.
I was going to ask if... Yeah, okay. So, okay.
All right.
As she's describing it and I'm getting, connecting the dots, I stand up. I put my shirt on and I put my chest plate on. And I bow to her. I really bow. I appreciate your time, your services, and I'm hoping that I can count on your confidentiality. The matters of what we talk.
When you say that, she kind of smirks a little bit. Still sitting there, very confidently, almost like she sits almost regally in the simple chair, but she sits very, very confidently and with a sort of authority. She looks back at the bowl. I mean, it really would be so much easier to keep all that confidence and leave here unsatisfied if that was an even 10.
Yeah, I look at her.
She smiles. Very charming.
Yeah. I smirk back, and I say, "You win."
I usually do. She takes up the bowl and she walks up close to you again, and she just holds it between you two, looking up at you, and waits for the coins, and then you can leave.
Yeah, I dropped them and heading out.
She
Wow, I did spend a lot of money here today.
You did,
God damn.
You did.
Shouldn't have started with gold coins, man.
Nah, it's all right.
All right. Okay.
I never spend money anyway.
So you return. I mean, this probably was a good 30 minutes or so. So Jean-Jacques was already back in the main chamber when you emerge as well, and all of you have had some time to kind of look around. About 15 minutes into this half hour, Tani, your companion that you've been speaking to does depart. She catches the attention of the very aggressive hippogriff hunter, and Sorana goes off into a chamber with her, so you are kind of left alone after that, with a miserable dwarf drinking next to you, and on the other side, your regular old dwarf drinking with Core. So
No need to separate the miserable dwarf.
I don't know. Barnack always seems quite happy to me, but yeah. So that's about halfway through. So I don't know if you guys want to still talk to each other or whatever. Jean-Jacques emerges 5 minutes later as well. But since we have our break coming up, I would say let's put the dots on the I's, and then after we come back, you'll see what happens next.
I just I walk out.
Right.
And I direct my eyes straight to Jean-Jacques because I'm expecting him and Barnack. I'm expecting some judgment, or at least,
Barnack's
they're going to acknowledge that,
Yeah, Barnack's probably not paying that much attention, but Jean-Jacques?
I just go to Jean-Jacques, and is he with the others? Is everybody around?
I think so.
Yeah, you could have probably sat down where Sorana was sitting.
Oh, yeah. So, I just direct myself to... Where am I? Okay. Here. Okay. I really did not see that. I was not checking the map. Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, so I go here. And I just... It's almost like to a whisper, because I really don't want to... caught Drummond's attention, get Drummond's attention.
Okay.
I just say to Jean-Jacques, the orders here, my orders here. They're the ones that we're looking for. They're the ones that we spotted. And but what troubles me the most is I know the person who's here. And I'm going to stay here until they return. So you guys might as well have some fun. And I open the spirits here, and I order a few more drinks to everybody. Since I'm already going bankrupt, make it official, right?
Seal the deal.
Yeah.
I will say for another gold piece, you can probably get everyone a round of something nice. Nothing aggressive, but probably with some of that stronger ale.
Yeah. That's what I intend to do, and I am, and now I'm focused, right? I've already did my business, so I'm going to be paying attention to this one dude here. But I'm not going to actually interact with them. I'm just going to wait for the return.
Okay. All right. Anyone else want to do anything? For example, talk with Clement, or is that where we kind of fade? The camera zooms out as you would have described it, and we go on our break here. Or is there anything else you guys want to do quickly before we go?
I would like to have a short conversation with Tani, so I'll kind of Jean-Jacques.
Wait, before you have it, my food's not here yet, so if I can continue playing for now, if you guys want to.
Okay. Yeah.
Unless you guys want to.
I mean, let's have this conversation. Let's see where we end up, right? Because your food could arrive any minute.
So I kind of Jean-Jacques kind of approaches Tani and kind of points towards the fireplace. He's like, "Mind giving me a minute of your time, Tani?"
Yep.
And so I can take her over there and do that movie thing of leaning up against the fireplace and kind of take the poker maybe and.
Just quickly, as you ask Tani to talk at the fireplace, and Tani, you get up. The dwarf that was sitting next to you just kind of goes like, "Oh, what? You just leaving your drinking buddy?" And just go back to drinking.
I point towards Barnack. I think you'll be fine, friend. There's nobody better than Barnack.
That's a handsome lad.
Yeah. Okay.
It's very drunk.
So I let the silence sit for a minute. Maybe get Tani to kind of have a breath and be like, "Are you okay, Tani? That earlier today must have been hard for you."
I was sort of gone, wasn't I? Lost in thought.
You were indeed.
I expect you'll ask what it was for me when we were in the room. And
You are wise indeed.
yes. Thank you for that. Yes. I wish Barnack would have heard. Because, yeah.
Oh, you're definitely
He would have
wiser
been proud.
than him.
But, I don't know. As soon as I came into the room, I felt like the need to kneel at the foot of the statue, and I don't know, I was about to speak words, and they were familiar at the time, but I can't recall them right now. So that's why I think if you were to try to speak those words, I think I could. If we were going to do that. And and when you guys spoke with Cadence, well, I was still a bit gone, but I don't know, the word seemed familiar. The dragon goddess. I don't want to say the name here. Why did that name seem? Yeah, it felt familiar to me. And then at Lord Fennik's, well, I did have a nap, and one of the worst dreams I've ever had. I woke up, I don't know. So I'm sorry if I'm still a bit tense. I'm not usually like this, and I want to snap out of it.
It's absolutely fine, Tiny. You're going through something unique, and it's okay to feel tense. This dream that you had, do you remember it at all?
Yes, I do.
Would you
It's
mind
going to be a
sharing
long
with me?
while till I forget. It felt like a blink of an eye. You know those kind of dreams where it doesn't take long to get into the dream. And I was in a big cavern, is what I remember. It was huge. I was alone in the middle, rooted to the ground. And then suddenly, I don't know, I felt a presence, and the I don't know, the floor started shaking, cracking, lava, magma. Is that the word? That the incredibly hot rock thing?
Yep, that's the
Liquid?
word.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remembered. Nice. And I don't know, it was so hot. My heart was beating. I was sweating, and there was this immense, I don't know, presence, and a strange will forced itself into my mind. I don't know. And I did hear a voice and a presence, and it called me. What were the words? Harold, you have returned to me, and I'm shaking just by remembering. But what else do I remember? Oh yeah, it told me I am incomplete, and I didn't understand that. And then I suddenly felt as though there was something in my chest. There was something missing, and told me I will be whole again. And something about a red eye, a sign that will lead me, that I have to look for it. Yeah, I felt a hole somewhere where something should be, and that's about it. Awful.
That is quite a lot. It sounds very scary.
It was.
Kevin, does the red eye, like if I imagine it all in capital letters or something, does that ring a bell?
Well, feel free to make a religion check.
Okay.
But I will say, even without the religion check, what immediately would jump to mind for anyone in this group would be the Great Red Comet on
It does, yeah.
the painting.
Yeah, so that's a 15 religion check.
No, nothing jumps out at you. You're not super familiar with the religious doctrines of the cult of the
It's
dragon.
not my area of expertise, yeah.
So that would probably require some research.
It just leads me to believe that whatever I was, whatever I did, that memory that we had in that strange mirror place, looks like I was part of that, wasn't I? If it's still so automatic, I was there for a while.
You know, I think that you were part of it, Tani. To be honest, I think that something happened. I don't know what it was, whether it was divine intervention of some kind or a more mundane, arcane influence, but I think something destroyed part of your memory or hidden it. It's beyond me at this time to really find out what and how. But I have a suspicion that once, or rather if, and once we go through that room, we will likely face whatever it is that either did this or we might find the answer to this question. I do believe that it's important for you to decide whether or not you want to find the answer. So I can tell you right now, I feel for you because, and I look kind of towards the others, and I look back at her and I say, I think that I come from a different world than most of our group. Things I've done, things that I've seen done, sometimes I wish that I could forget. If I were in your shoes and I knew what I was about to remember, I don't know that I would, but hope that you can find some consolation in the fact that whatever you might have done before, or whatever your life might have been before, you wouldn't be the only one with such a past.
And I think I do want to know. I want to understand. I'm confused about so much, and I missed out on so much. I want to understand the few things that I can. I hope it won't change me.
I hope so too. I hope so too. I like you, Tiny. I like who you are right now.
Yeah, I hope I stay this way. I like this one. I don't like my past one.
Well, then, it's just going to be a battle between two versions of yourself, and I don't know who this past version was, but I've seen you kick some mean ass, and I don't have a doubt in my mind that you would win any fight like that.
Yeah. I don't know either.
Yeah, we shall find out. I kind of slap her on the back, thinking it's strong, but it's in reality. Well, Jean-Jacques has a 11 strength, so it's not like super weak.
No, it's just against the muscle, like in it's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Hang in there, Tani. Try to take your mind off of it a bit. We'll get through this together.
Yeah, Sarana sort of helped.
Good.
And as I walk, as I don't know, I'm gonna start walking back. If she had stayed a bit longer, I think I would have, I don't know, accepted. I don't know. I've never. And I keep it at that.
Jean-Jacques just kind of looks at her quizzically, thinks he's got it, but he's not gonna find out. So I just look towards the others and I say, I think I'll be taking my leave now, friends. Unless, Ternock, you would like me to stay? Are you muted in Zoom?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just worried about the white noise around. Yes, you can go, but let's gather back here, okay? I don't know how long you're going to take there, but if you come back and we're not here, then we'll gather at what's the name of the place we're staying?
Well, either at Lord Fennik's estate or at the Stormcrow Tavern, whichever.
Yeah. The tavern. Yeah, the tavern there.
Yeah, because Lord Storms will be closed by the time that we can get back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Down at 10.
Yeah.
All right. I'll try to get back here. I hope I can do it within 2 hours or so.
I don't think anything is going to happen in the next 2 hours. Don't worry.
All right.
We're gonna turn to Jean-Jacques and say, "You're gonna take 2 hours now with the next one."
I lean in and with a put my hand on his shoulder, very serious face, and I say, "And that's just the beginning, my friend." And I walk out.
Okay.
I'm like, damn.
All right. I will say let's pause it there, even if your food's not quite there yet. But I need a break
okay.
at least, and
Okay, cool.
it's a good moment in the story.
Yeah.
Is everyone getting up? Because I wanted to say something to Nicola specifically, but I can take him into a breakout room if that's better.
No.
Nah, I can leave. Just go grab some food. And do you think you're going to?
No, like two minutes max.
No, okay. Okay. I'll be right back.
All right.
be
So
back in a
make
little
sure
bit
you're not
too.
listening. It's not for you.
Okay.
Okay, so we're taking a break now?
Yes, we're taking our break.
30
now.
minutes?
Yes.
The usual? Okay.
Yeah.
Be
Okay.
right back. Well,
Alright.
in 30.
In a bit.
See you in a bit. All right. So, giving them a second to actually get up. No, I just wanted to say, as you go to leave, on your way out the door, you pass by a figure with a dark cloak over their head, and you catch the insignia that Ternock also wears on their shoulder. Literally just brushing by you and going to sign in on their way in. And you immediately probably catch like some snide remark from the guard at the desk as well. It's kind of like, you're back again, huh? Probably shouldn't have come. And that's it. So I will leave it up to you what you choose to do. But it seems that serendipitous timing is favoring you for the moment.
Okay, I'll hang back for the moment at the very least. And if I'll go back inside after him, I'll just hang around on the street for a little while.
Okay.
Off to the side, and then I'll probably head back in if I
Okay.
hear any ruckus or something.
Okay. Good to know. So we'll assume that when we come back that Jean-Jacques is gone. But
Yeah.
you know where you are. All right. Then let's have our 30-minute break, and I will see you in a bit.